Yeah, yeah. Girl, I want. Tonight is the night. I don't even know what song I'm singing, but. Of course, the second I start recording, all you hear is my phone. Ding, 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 ding. Like, I'm never this popular. All right, I can't believe that it's already June. This is crazy. Well, not even June. It's already July. This is the last day of June when you're seeing this. But I really, really love watching these mid-year book freakout tags. And so I thought I would hop on a trend and tell you guys about my half year in books. I think the original creators were Earl Grey Books and Is That Chami? I think those are their YouTubes. I'll link them down below. As far as I know, those are the creators. If they're not, feel free to leave it in the comments. Definitely want to give credit where it's due. And with that, I'm gonna get started. I have the 10 original questions, and then I also watched How to Train Your Gavin's video, and he had done some additional questions that I think he got from another booktuber, and so I may do some of those questions as well. But let's get started with the general questions. So question number 1 is, how has your 2023 reading year gone so far? And honestly, I think this has been my best reading year thus far, like ever. And a lot of that is because I've been forcing myself to read a lot of the books that I have on my physical TBR. And I've just been trying to find ways to lower my physical TBR. And I gotta say that Past Me has done a really good job picking out books that I knew I would like, because of the books that I've read, a lot of the newer books that I acquired this year that I read were okay, they were good, but my 5-star reads this year have mostly been books that have been sitting on my bookshelves for a really long time, and I finally forced myself to read it. So I'm gonna say good. It started off a little rough, but it's been so good lately. And also, in case you're wondering, I have thus far read 64 books this year, and I'm in the middle of reading my 65th, which I'll probably finish today. Question number 2 is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2023? Gosh, I need to look at my reading journal. I have so many good ones in my brain, and I don't know if I can decide on just one. All right, I decided that I cannot pick a best book. I've had so many 5-star reads this year, and it's actually quite interesting because I noticed that January started off really strong, and then February and March were not so good. April, I had my first, well, no, not my first, because my first book of the year was my first 5-star read. But April, things started to pick really up. And then May kind of sucked as a reading month. And then June has been phenomenal. 10 out of 10 recommend. Anyways, I'm just going to give you a brief list of all the books that I've given 5 stars this year. And that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, Divergent by Veronica Roth, Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, and I know I'm late on the bandwagon for this one, but Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And yeah, I think that all of these books have probably been the best books of the year. I think any of these can qualify as the best book of the year. I'm stoked that I had so many 5-star books this year, because I literally never give books 5 stars. It's so rare. And so that's why it's been so exhilarating to have so many this year. All right, keeping with the theme of not being able to pick just one book, question number 3 is the best sequel of 2023. And For this, I want to say Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, obviously because I gave it 5 stars. But I'm going to pick a book that I didn't give 5 stars to, and that is, well, multiple books, like I said. A Court of Wings and Ruin and A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. These follow A Court of Thorns and Roses, and although I didn't give them 5 stars, I didn't give any of the books in the series 5 stars, but I think as a series overall, it is 5 stars and probably one of my best series ever. And I think that's because I think Sarah J. Maas just does such a good job of, I mean, not only world building, I thought it was like very simple and that anyone can follow it and understand what's going on. But also I realized at the end that even though this wasn't necessarily like my favorite writing and there wasn't like, you know, those 5-star feelings, at the end I realized that I was very highly invested in these characters. I really was rooting for like what would happen to them, and I hated Feyre, but I still wanted to know what would happen to her. I was invested in what would happen to her and what did happen. So I think that this series by far wins with like getting me invested in the characters. And honestly, I feel like it just, each subsequent one got better and better. Like I definitely would say A Court of Mist and Fury is my favorite book in the series. Question number 4 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to, and I don't think I need to give an explanation for this one. I just got it for my birthday. It took a month to come in apparently, and that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This book is literally breaking the internet right now, and I must know why. Question number 5 is my most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And for that, I think I definitely have to say A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett Sinclair. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling series. And I mean, the first book in the series, A Touch of Darkness, was definitely probably like the best one. But I have to say, even though I'm not huge on like spicy books and things like that, I think she did such a good job of investing readers in the characters and just like the story between Persephone and Hades. I liked their dynamic as a couple, and I liked the dark and mysterious parts of it, and I also liked how she brings Greek mythology into the real world. I read Lore by Alexandra Bracken this year, and I was really excited and hype for that like Greek mythology but in the real world vibes, and I don't think I got it. So I'm hoping that A Touch of Chaos will scratch that itch because I loved this series when I read it. And also, I don't ever hear anyone talking about this series, so you know, maybe you should check it out so we can talk about it. Question number 6. What is your biggest disappointment so far in 2023? And I'm not even gonna bother taking the book out. It's right there behind me. It's Caraval by Stephanie Garber. And yeah, please, none of the fandom come after me. But I don't get the hype for that book. Actually, let me take that back. I understand why this book is interesting. I wanted to know what was going to happen, and that's why I put myself through finishing all 402 pages of this book. And I thought like the stuff that happens is so freaking random, and the way that the magic works is so freaking random, and that part is really intriguing and makes you want to know more about this world. But overall, I felt like the writing style in this book was kind of really horrible. Sorry. I felt like there were a lot of like really random transitions. I felt like the romance felt really forced. There were a lot of times where like she's like washing the blood off his head after he just got attacked and he's dying, and she's like, oh, how I wonder what it'd be like to wander my hands on the rest of his body. Like, girl, he's dying. Why are you horny right now? Ah! And it happened twice. Not once, count them, twice. So it's giving she has a near-death fetish, which, not my vibe. Other than that, I also just felt like if you really sit down and think about the events of this story, yes, the character developed, but nothing happened that was actually a product of her doing anything. Like, she didn't actually find any of the clues. She either stumbled upon them or they were delivered to her. And so that kind of took away from, I guess, this feeling of the character growing and overcoming her fears that I think the author was trying to convey. Because yeah, if you really think about it, like, she didn't actually do any of these things. So I didn't like that book. And I have Legendary and Finale, which are the two subsequent books in that series, and I'm really debating whether I want to read the rest of them or not. Because yes, your girl's the type of person that buys the whole series without even reading the first book. It was box set, it was really cheap. Leave me alone. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you think it's worth finishing the series. Otherwise, I'm just gonna sell the other two books. I'm gonna keep the first one just because it's really pretty, and I also wrote all over it because I annotated while I read. Question number 7 is the biggest surprise of 2023. So for this one, I think I'm gonna go with Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. I feel like this book really surprised me because I picked it up mostly because this edition was really gorgeous. I had no idea what it was going to be about, and I also never read an Olivia Blake book. And when I first picked the book up, when I first got it, I thought like it was going to be confusing. It was way too intellectual for me. I literally was like, maybe I'm not smart enough to understand this book. Yikes. But it actually, I picked it back up again this month, and it really blew my mind. You didn't really have to understand all the like mathematical, theoretical concepts in the book to really understand the relationship between the two characters. I was really surprised that my heart was like so heavy the entire time I read this. It's like when you are holding in a big cry. I was holding in a big cry the entire time. I didn't cry, but that says more about me than it does about the book. I thought these characters were so surprising and that they were so unique and so different, but relatable in the same way. And I loved this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. The half star was because of all the I didn't understand it. Question number 8 is favorite new author, or this could be new to you or debut author. And I'm gonna go with, I wouldn't say new to me because I've read Gallant, I've read Vicious, but V.E. Schwab. I love her. She's easily now a top 3 author. I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by her and also Vicious this year. And honestly, she's on track for that #1 spot. Cause girl. Number 9 is newest fictional crush. And for this, I'm just gonna be basic and go for Marie Sand from A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's something about the like, I've realized this book is not enemies to lovers. Not really. But enemies to lovers is my trope, and I have to say, I love the idea of like the dark, brooding bat boy that's supposed to be like bad, but really he treats you like a princess. Ah. Reese's book daddy. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. And for that, I have The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. It's actually really funny because the other day I saw a woman on the train and she was reading this book, but she had the like bear book. And I noticed the BB and I was like, are you reading The Vanishing Half? And then we both missed our stops because we were talking about this book and how great it is. I cried with a specific character in this book named Early, who his story just like touched me really deeply. And that is honestly a huge feat for this author because I just don't cry. And even when I do cry, it's usually just like one tear in one eye, not both. Can't explain it, but that's what happens. So, Vanishing Half. Question number 11 is a book you saw on TikTok that you regret reading. I'm not on Book Talk. I don't really use TikTok in general, so I'm just gonna go with Instagram, and for that I'm gonna choose The Island by Natasha Preston. I think that's the author, but I'll put it up here. I just like, as soon as I read this book, I regretted wasting my time on it. I felt like it was so poorly written. I don't like books about influencers, so I should have known that I wasn't going to enjoy a book about influencers stuck on an island, but I had faith because it had like the creepy island vibes. But alas, it was an effort to finish that book. It was not good. Sorry. I'm sure it was good to someone else. It just wasn't the book for me. Question number 12 is, what's the most beautiful book you bought this year? And that's definitely A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I already loved the original like cover art, but this one has like the beautiful design, and then it has like such beautiful art on the inside, like this depiction of the characters. But then on top of that, when you take the cover off, it is this creepy haunted house, and I just think that the vibes are immaculate. So, and this is the Fairy Loot edition. Fairy Loot, you're doing a good job. Question number 13 is, what are the books you need to read by the end of the year? And ideally the answer to that would be all 86 unread books on my shelves. But for purposes of you guys finding new books to read, I will pick out a few of them. So some examples, I have Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. And this book I've started like 2 months ago and have read like a little bit here and there, but haven't been able to like get in the actual mood for this book. I don't think it's a bad book or that it's like not well written. I actually like do enjoy it. I just haven't been in the mood for it. So Gone Girl is definitely on this list. Also obviously Fourth Wing, which I said before. And then I'm really excited for Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, which is right there, I think. And this one just came out, and I did get it on its release date, but then haven't like really picked it up yet. It's, you know, I think Ali Hazelwood by now is an auto-buy author. I didn't really love Loathe to Love You by her, but everything else that I've read, Love on the Brain, The Love Hypothesis, I really thoroughly enjoyed. And so those are my main priorities right now. All right, and then I think the rest of these are booktube related questions. So we're just gonna speed on through them really quickly. The next question is, what is your favorite video that you've made so far in 2023? And I definitely think that that's a tie between my Costa Rica reading vlog. So if you don't know, I have a series here called Books We Read on Vacation, and I like to visit bookstores while I'm out of the country or out of the state. And I just had such a great time filming that video, but then I also feel like it was the first time that I really sat down and like put like a huge thought and effort into bettering like my editing skills, and so I was really proud of the outcome of that video. And then I also think that I just really loved my reading journal flip through of last year. I'm just so proud of like the way that I finally stuck to something throughout a whole year. It is so hard to keep up with something for an entire year, and I have to say that I haven't done a really good job of doing it this year, but last year I did a really good job, and I am just really proud of the outcome of my journal, and so putting that out there first thing this year, it was just something that I was really proud of. The next question is a video you thought was going to flop but did really well, and I think that's also my reading journal video. I wanted this to be a book community and a book video, so I don't really put out too much bullet journal content, but my bullet journal content is what gets the most views, so I guess I'm gonna have to share a little bit more of that with you. And that also leads into question number 15. Are there any upcoming videos that you are excited to make? I am actually hoping to film soon my mid-year reading journal flip through, because I've actually finished an entire journal already because I've read so many books. So I'm probably gonna do a mid-year flip through coming up really soon once I get a little bit caught up. And I'd probably do one at the end of the year also. That, and I also have a few other trips that I'm going to put out and I'm really excited for. I love traveling and I love books. Those are like my two favorite things. So you're in for a treat. And the last question is, are there any channel goals that you have that you want to meet before the end of the year? And yes, definitely. I recently rebranded and like remade my intro video, and I just really want to commit to uploading for you all more consistently. I do have a schedule in mind that I don't want to tell you because I don't want to be a liar and not stick to the posting schedule that I said, but I'm really hoping to, in July, kind of reset, stick to my posting schedule. And I did my very best to film a lot this month, and so I'm just gonna get down to the nitty gritty and edit and put stuff up for you guys, and I hope you guys like it. And yeah, I guess my channel goal is really to just be a lot more consistent. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this mid-year book freakout tag. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button and all the things on YouTube that you know how to do. And I will see you guys when I see you next. Bye!